Hello, thank you for joining us at the Tourbit Tourism 4.0 third edition. I'm Blanca Cros, Project Coordinator of the Tourbit project and Head of the European Projects Unit at the Catalan Tourism Board. After almost 2 years of the Tourbit project, I suppose and hope that you already are familiar with it. Nevertheless, let me share with you a few insights. The goal of the Tourbit project is to support the tourism SMEs in their digitalization process. Who we are? We are a consortium of 8 organizations from 7 different countries: Catalan Tourism Board, the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, the Paris & Co., the Artur Du, the Cluster Hospitality Brussels, the Iceland Tourism Cluster, the Lapland University of Applied Science, and NES Tourism Innovation Center from Portugal. How do we support the uptake of digitalization to the tourism SMEs? By working through 3 main areas. The first one is learning, sharing knowledge through studies, webinars like the one you are joining today, as well as skills through the Go Digital Skills program and also the Digital Readiness Index tool. The second one is building, connection between the tourism and the technology ecosystems through, for example, the series of 14 podcasts, the Tour Tech, your 5 weekly takeaways to tourism success. And finally, the third one is testing and implementing digitalization projects through the direct financial support allocated to 62 tourism SMEs. So, through this webinar, we aim at presenting the main results on the publication we have released on the current top technologies and their application by the tourism SMEs through very insightful interviews with technology experts. I hope you will enjoy it. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on behalf of myself too. My name is Maarit Tihinen. I'm working as a principal lecturer here at Lapland University of Applied Sciences in Rovaniemi, Finland.
And hello everyone, my name is Marta Salvador. I am a project coordinator at NEST, Tourism Innovation Center in Portugal. Today we have the pleasure, as we've been having to work together for the past months, we are presenting the result of the year top release of technologies, which is a publication that we have been doing for the past 2 years. So this year, it will be the 3rd edition of this publication, in which I can just share for you to have a slight view on what is expected. So this reflects some efforts that all the consortium of Tourbit have been doing in researching which are the latest trends in technologies for the SMEs adoption. And this year, in the 3rd publication, we are focusing on 4 technologies: augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, and Internet of Things. And in this report, we will find a little bit more, you will gain insights on what these technologies are, how can the SMEs adopt these technologies, and what are the challenges. So this is what you will find in the report. If you look for the other ones from the previous years, last year we have talked also about cybersecurity, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and contactless. And the first report on 2022, it was about online sales, OTA, data analytics, and platform economy. To give you just a short insight on what this is, we are also presenting this webinar. Maarit, do you want to take the floor now?
Yes. In this webinar, we have 3 very interesting interviews about those topics relation of our top release. Mr. Israel Blanco, CEO at Cactus, discussing relating IoT topics. Mrs. Mafalda Ricca, CEO of VisitAR Xplora, discussing more about the augmented reality and virtual reality possibilities. And then Mrs. Tanja Bivic, Plankar, President of the Blockchain Allianz Europe, and she's discussing, of course, blockchains issues. We hope you will enjoy this webinar as well as your reading trip of year 2024 top release. We hope you will get some new ideas or grow in your own awareness within these important and interesting topics in tourism sector.
Also, if you want to look for more information, don't forget to visit our website, tourbit.eu. Thank you.
Hello, I am Sandra de Puig. I am EU Project Manager at the Catalan Tourism Board, and it's my pleasure today to facilitate this interview where we are going to be talking about Internet of Things, the so-called IoT, together with our guest, who is Israel Blanco. Hello, Israel. He's the CEO of Cactus, which is a multidisciplinary consultancy offering sustainable IoT engineering services. Hello, Israel. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, Sandra. Thank you for the introduction.
So as we all know, Internet of Things is a transformative technology that has been actually fostering revolution in the way that devices, the objects, and also the systems interact and communicate with each other. At the core of this Internet of Things technology, we find that we embed in everyday objects with sensors, with actuators, and also with connectivity capabilities that enable them to connect and to exchange over the internet. This interconnected network of physical devices creates a seamless and also an intelligent ecosystem where information can be shared, but also information can be analyzed and can be acted upon in real time. So there are a lot of opportunities actually of this technology of Internet of Things for tourism SMEs, and this is why we would like to know a little bit the views and the insights from Israel on how this IoT can actually provide support to tourism SMEs in the day-to-day business, in the day-to-day operations, with the customers' relations, also in the way maybe their customers experience their products, their services. So what are your views on this, Israel, please?
Okay, Sandra, thank you for the question. Yeah, indeed. There are several aspects that we should consider in order when we want to apply technology to this small tourism SME businesses. The first thing is cost reductions. No, when we apply this kind of technology, one of the easiest cases to think of is, for example, when we want to digitalize, for example, some of the processes while, for example, making the reservation, making the entrance to the small hotel, for example, or house, wherever. So it's a reduction that would imply a reduction on human resources. No, that's something that technology can provide. I'm not saying that that is good or not good, depending on the aspects of how you look at it, but it's something that technology is already providing us here. I'm from Barcelona, and here in Barcelona, I'm watching every day more and more small hotels who are people-less, let's say. No, it's everything digitalized, all the reservation and all the process. So that is one of the main things. I'm not saying it's the thing I like the most, but it's an obvious thing that technology is providing, and it's getting more and more obvious, no? And it's everywhere. Another thing, like you were saying, which I think personally it's more interesting, is how can we improve the user experience, no? How can we make the user happier in the whole experience of using the facilities of the hotel? That can be related into the personalization of the experience on the room. For example, imagine that we put a small QR code on the entrance of the room, and by scanning that QR code, you somehow have a web app that allows you to manage the room and customize the settings of the room automatically to the customer. Or even before the arrival of the customer, you can set up the special conditions of the room for them according to its needs, or whatever they may like. These are some things that technology can provide. Also, the one thing that we think is very interesting is the carbon footprint reduction, because at the end, all these businesses, they can be small, but they are all using energy. No, they are consuming energy, power, electricity. They are consuming water. So digitalization can improve the usage of these resources, and that's one of the main things. So it would imply reducing costs to these businesses, but also contributing to a more sustainable world. I will explain you some examples in further questions if you want, or right now as you wish.
We can do it later on if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And yeah.
Okay. No, that's it about the question.
Okay, and for example, we talk about these huge opportunities, but also we know that there are a lot of challenges actually, and especially for those small and medium enterprises, which a lot of them, they are really composed by very tiny teams. What would be like the main challenges you see that these tourism SMEs may face when applying IoT technologies in their systems?
Well, okay, yeah. One of the obvious things is the cost. Obviously, the cost of implementing all this technology in the small business. It's something to be considered, and it's something sometimes that needs to be understood from these SMEs. Okay, it's not easy. Another thing that I would say is that they need, and we at Cactus as an engineering services, it's a job that we have to do. I would say daily. It's to make things easy for them in order for them to understand what's the variety of technologies that they can use and what are the best technologies to their case. Because of course there's a lot of solutions that can be installed. There are a lot of providers that will fight in order to win and in order to implement their solution, and that is not always in the best interest of the business. So from our point of view, it's an important job to to give a good guidance in what technologies they should be implementing. Open technologies that will allow them to interact with more and more different devices, and not proprietary solutions. That's one of the main things. So I would say that one challenge is to be proper guided in order to know what you have to use for your usage case and to bring the value you need in your business.
Exactly. So find the best the best solution, let's say.
The best approach, the best technological approach regarding your value proposition, the value proposition you need, and also what technology to use.
Yeah.
Right?
And when we think a little bit on cost effectiveness, like what is more or less the breakdown of this cost for a tourism SME?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because things have changed a lot throughout the last, I would say, 20-30 years. I say this because if we are focusing, for example, in the small hotels or bookings and these kind of things, when you had to digitalize some physical elements of the business, some shutters, for example, the door, the lights, the water flow, etc., you had to use a lot of protocols. I'm talking about technology now, a lot of protocols that were cabled. And when we say cable, you can understand we have to, assemble all these cables, so make like a big infrastructure, so it's expensive. So this digitalization on the past was very expensive. Still today, you can use these cabled solutions like Modbus, Connex, different kind of solutions, which are expensive. But the good thing that has happened over the last, I would say, 7-10 years is some kind of democratization of this business. I mean, there's a lot of new protocols that have been invented, have been designed and standardized, that allow to digitalize some rooms, some spaces with devices that are cheaper, because they use different protocols that are wireless. Of course, this has some advantages and some disadvantages, but this has brought, without doubt, a lot of democratization of the sector. So we can digitalize with a lower cost compared to 20 years ago.
And would this require also like more maintenance, or is it the same? Because at the same time, all this happen in a world where technology changes super fast. So in a way, what are these kind of ongoing maintenance that is required for this type of technology?
This is a question we face a lot of times, and I completely understand, because there's a lot of maintenance cost, or it has been, in the last years. One of the main advantages of these new, let's say, technologies is that these little devices that can be, placed all over the hotel or the room, most of them work with batteries, and they are ultra low power devices, so they consume a little amount of energy. That most of the time they are sleeping, and they just detect some things and they act. And over the last 5 years, there has been a lot of investment, especially in Europe, about harvesting technologies, which are technologies that are able to harvest energy from different sources, light, temperature, even radio waves from the ambient, that can then help these tiny devices to not to consume so much energy from the battery, but from these other sources of energy instead. At Cactus, we are specialized in this kind of devices, for instance. So that at the end reduces a lot the amount of human work in order to maintain all the devices. I'm talking about devices that can last up to 10 years without maintenance. Okay, most of the devices that we would place in a hotel, for example.
Yeah, because what I think is that in order to ensure, let's say, a successful implementation or integration of IoT in a tourism SME, for example, we need, of course, to engage with the staff, and then, of course, in a way, depending on how we are applying this technology, also we would need, in a way, to engage the customer. So how does this happen according to your experience?
Yeah, that's always tricky. I mean, technology is not sexy. We always say that, no, most of the times. So it's difficult in order to engage people. The good thing is that, well, I don't know if it's the good thing, but the contemporary thing is that we are more and more used to use the phone, right? Everybody knows how to, I would say almost everybody knows how to use the phone, and this is gonna get worse or better, depending on how you look at it, but the usage will increase. So we are a digitalized people. So I think the digitalization of spaces will be something required in order to, fit with people in the future, especially. So this example about the QR code that I gave you when you enter to the room, in order to set up the room, in order to use the room, the TV, the service room, the shutters, the lights, whatever, will be something that I think will be mandatory somehow, because people will be so used to that. So the only thing we have to do is keep up in the digitalization of the physical world. Some people talk about physicalization, which is physical and digital of the world, in order to keep up with what the people will need and expect. And of course, a good UX UI, that's user experience and user interface on the solution, will be mandatory also to make it attractive.
And in this regards, because we're using the device, and most of the times, in a way, from the side of the customer is going to be probably their phone, for instance. How do we ensure, in a way, this data protection and security? Because there's a lot of interconnection, a lot of data running, and how this is secured.
That is indeed I would say, the most challenging issue that we still have. I mean, of course, there are different approaches or different considerations that need to be applied when you are worried about security, and we should be worried about security. The thing is that one of the problems when you are designing a very small device that consumes a very small amount of power, that we were saying before, the computational power of this device is reduced. So the amount of things that this device can do is reduced. And one of the threats is security, because it cannot compute a lot of software in order to prevent these attacks. Okay. The thing we have to say is that, at least from Cactus, we always advocate for standard technologies like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, these technologies have its own security standards and that always have to be fulfilled. It's some encryption standards that are accepted, but they are well exploited. I mean, we all know how to exploit the security of a Bluetooth network or a Wi-Fi network. Does that mean that it's not secure? It has a certain level of security. Nothing is, absolutely secureless. I mean, everything can be broken.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that the amount of technology that you need in order to break Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, for example, is not available to everybody. I mean, you have to, be really specialized on doing that. So I would say, yes, it's a big concern. I have to say there are some methods, and we, for example, when we work with this technology, we apply these methods.
Of course.
But it's a concern that we all at least should be aware of, that everything is breakable in terms of security. We just have to be cautious and apply all the methods and methodologies that we are recommend to. Okay.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And if we consider that a tourism SME, let's say, would like to invest in IoT, but as always, no little money. We want fast return of investment. What would it be? So how do we measure the success of these IoT technologies?
Yeah. This is related to the first question we have been discussing. It's hard to say. Okay, the obvious thing is if this technology is able to make this business to have less human resources, they can maybe not use that much people, and so the digitalization can provide the same effects on the business. That's one thing. It's not the thing we like the most, of course. Another thing is looking at long-term investments. I guess, and we have some examples. Again, talking about hotels, for example, that this digitalization of the space, the fact that you can manage with your phone the whole room, the fact that it can personalize the experience that you have while using the hotel. On the hotels, we have implemented this. We have seen that the hotel have a new claim for people to use their hotel. So at the end, they expect, but this is a long-term investment, that more people consider to use that facility because it's more attractive regarding technology. And as we were discussing before, since the society is more and more digitalized, I think it's a good investment. I think it's a good idea. Also, of course, another direct effect is what we were saying. If you do it correctly, it will allow you to save money with the energy consumption, and that's, I think, it's very important. The water consumption, which is extremely important, and all the resources that you need. Digitalization it's mandatory in order to optimize the energy you use, the carbon footprint. So that's one of the main things.
Yeah. I think there's also a lot of room still for this seamless experience, no? So it's there, and I think we value it very much. But I think there's a lot more to be done and to be kind of promoted. Actually, when a SME, for example, a hotel, would invest in IoT, how this communication, on how this would impact a better experience of the customer could be done. And so according to your views, how do you see what are the emerging trends? And I know that you work also on, you relate this IoT technology with sustainability. So also what is how this relation happens, and what are your views on these emerging trends related to IoT?
Okay. Regarding trends, specifically talking about technology only, like I was saying before, the trending is to instead of cabling everything, it's using devices that are wireless throughout a lot of different protocols. Okay, but these allow to, using these small, cheaper devices to have digitalization of spaces. So that's good news, I think. That's democratization, like we were saying, of the technology. So all, let's say, more people can, access to the digitalization market. That's one of the things. I would like to say also that when you develop these things, and this is a very Cactus thing, this is a very particular thing from our company, is that okay, the digitalization itself, regardless of how you implement it, will allow, like we were saying, that to save energy, to save water. So just the digitalization process will allow people to save money and contribute to a more sustainable world. So that's a thing. IoT by itself, regardless of how it's implemented, it's helping. The digitalization is helping. But in Cactus, we are specialized also on how we develop this technology, regardless of its final usage, okay? And that is when we insist a lot in something called green computing, which is not an invention of Cactus. It's a well-known invention, and it talks about how do we develop software code and hardware. What protocols, what instances, how do we do it? Because nobody, or every time now more and more people are starting to talk about, we have to start discussing all the servers in the world with all the code running, which is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We have to understand that this is consuming a lot of power. So the thing is, could we implement the same functionality but using less resources? And the answer is yes. And that's what we are focused on standardizing and making people understand, the clients, that we develop the solution that requires fewer resources. That's what we try to do.
And do you have some practical examples on this precisely? What you were mentioning now, or maybe other experiences with tourism industry?
Yeah, the thing I have been talking throughout the whole interview is the hotel example. So I'm gonna just talk a little bit about that only.
Yes.
That is a success story because we were able to implement our solution, which digitalized the whole room of the hotel, and we implemented that in different hotels and in different places. And it was a success because indeed, just only the savings on light, on energy that was used, because most of the rooms were sometimes, empty. And even today, there's a lot of places where the light's still on and nobody's there. It seems like something easy to do, like this should have been implemented 15, 20 years ago. The answer is yes, but is it still not done? So there's a lot of job regarding that what we have to do. And another example, this is a kind of new one from this year, a client that had a solution that was also focused on hotels in order to save water through gamification. It was a device that we are designing. Actually, we are designing it right now, so I can explain up till a certain point. But this is a device that you put it below the shower, and it has a screen, okay? It has some LEDs and some colors. It's playful, okay? And through gamification, it tells you how you should use the shower in order not to be showering more than 4 minutes. So it's like you have like 4 stages, okay? And it helps through gamification, to aims to reduce the time of the showering. And that device is at the end connected to the PMS of the hotel, so the hotel can understand who is better using the usage of water, so consuming less water, and then the hotel promotes somehow or makes some discount on the people who are doing it correctly. And this client made some tests, and they were saving up to 34% of water in a hotel. So that's an interesting case because through gamification, we were able to in the tourism sector save energy, save water, and at the end make the customer more happy. So it's a good example, I think.
It's a great example, and also especially nowadays, also with all these problems that we have in Catalonia with water, and I think in other parts of Europe as well, and also like trying to provoke this change of mindset with the user, to make the user and the customer be part of this change that we want to drive. Thank you so much, Israel. I think it has been super insightful having this conversation with you, and we hope to follow a little bit more on what Cactus is doing and will be doing in the future. So we stay in touch, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, we stay in touch. Bye.
Hello, Mafalda.
Hello, Marta.
Thank you for accepting our invitation for the Tourbit project,
Thank you for inviting me.
Which aims to boost the uptake of digitalization and technologies for the tourism SMEs. So for our audience, I am Marta Salvador from NES, Tourism Innovation Center from Portugal. This is Mafalda Ricca. She's founder and CEO of VisitAR, a company that focuses on improving the visiting experience through AI, AR, VR, and gamification.
Exactly.
Mafalda, please correct me and tell us more about you, please.
Okay, yeah, exactly that. We are a platform that is used for generating tours and visits on-site or virtually for any destination or visitor attraction or any operator that wants to use our platform to improve the visitor experience. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So given that you are an expert on this topic, we invited you to explore a little bit more in the AR, VR. And so for a starting point, I would ask you to tell us a bit more on what are the benefits for the tourism companies, which in fact are a lot, and how could they benefit from this technology concretely?
Yeah. What we believe is that AR and VR technology is definitely a way of improving and generating impact and engagement during any visit for any tourist. Because it's a way of bringing some stories that are hidden and that you cannot show because they are not there anymore for geographic reasons or for historical reasons. I don't know, you are in an archaeological site and you don't know how it looked like in the past, and then you bring immersivity to bring how it looks like and for you to feel how it was in the past. Those kind of tools, when I'm talking about AR, are really useful when you are doing visits to different tourism attractions. And VR and the experiences of virtual reality are also truly interesting. Not only on site when you are visiting something, and again you want to immerse on the stories, but also for planning. I mean, VR and the immersive experiences that VR can bring might give you a really interesting tool for marketing in travel, for users and for travelers to take a look at to the destinations that you are planning to go, and then they decide with more conscious where they want to go, the plans for their travels and everything. So I'm not just the only one who is saying this. All the studies are going to that. I mean, for example, for this year, MasterCard did a study for trends in travel, and they realized that 43% of the travelers will use virtual reality to inspire themselves. And to plan better, to really understand the destination before they go. And this is a really powerful tool for marketing purpose. So I do believe that AR and VR might not only improve on-site visits, but also in the inspiring and planning issues. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a tool that has this duplicity of use, which can be used and explode. So one of the topics, and for the majority of us, when we think of this technology, AR, VR solutions, we often associate this with huge costs that, for instance, for a small company, it might not be affordable. It might be just too hard. And when we have to focus on whether we continue the operations or we invest in the technology, and given that there are so many technologies, how would you say, well, first of all, what are the main challenges in adopting? And the other thing is connecting and considering the cost structure. Can you enlighten us a little bit more on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the main challenges for these technologies has to do still has to do with not the software itself, because I think that technically the access to this kind of frameworks is quite easy. But in terms of content, there's still a challenge, because when you're talking about doing an immersive experience and preparing an immersive experience, you are talking about something that needs to have a big impact. You are not talking about showing a video or a picture. It's something that will require some knowledge in terms of 3D models and the visual effect of this and the aesthetic of this. And it's important to take care of all of the details in terms of the visuals of these experiences. And I think that the main challenge will be to find the right partners and to find the right people to really generate these models in a really realistic way, which is the first challenge, I would say, that we would face when adopting AR. Another one would be when we are generating models that we want to present in AR, you normally need to have access to internet, for example, unless you have tools in your mobile to see offline experiences, and that might work. But when you don't have, and you need to have access, there's a challenge regarding the 5G, which is not fully adopted. And there might be some technical issues here for those who want to adopt in places where you don't have a really good connection, okay? Of course, that there's ways of overcoming this. In our case, we are providing solutions that might be assessed through an offline version, but it's still a challenge, okay? Another thing I would say is that there's still some, I would say, the challenge for the ones that are thinking about using AR sometimes, and for those who sell this experience like us, is that they feel that is something that is quite inaccessible, and that is quite expensive, which is not true. I mean, this area of AR and VR got a really interesting boost during COVID. And the reason why is super logical. People were at home, they wanted to have experiences in places and they couldn't. And the only way that they could go there and immerse on the reality of those places that they could not visit was through AR and VR. And so people really try a lot of things in AR and VR during this period. And then there was a boost and an opportunity for the companies who are developing these tools to improve these tools, to launch to found new companies around this. So everything started to be more competitive and the prices went down. So nowadays, you can have access to these tools with a really not expensive solutions, which is quite interesting. So I would say that there's still the idea that this is something that is not accessible, but it is at this moment. So what I feel in the market is that people are still thinking that maybe this is not a priority because maybe it's too expensive, which is not. And so I would say from my point of view, in this case, my challenge would be to tell everyone in the world, kind of evangelize people to understand that this is accessible and that this is an amazing and useful tool for any destination and for any tour operator, hotel to use.
Mafalda, one of the challenges that I would remember to also add to the point that you said, which also connects to the cost structure, is about, well, the people, right? I mean, and when I speak of people, I speak of, well, the team, the staff that will have to deal with this new technology, and also maybe worrying about the adoption of the public, the tourists, because maybe we imagine that the younger generation will be more into it, but then if our target is not that much, how will the public respond? So my question is, do you think also that this the training for the staff, for the audience, for the engagement of all these people, is it still a challenge, or you think that, considering your experience, that the adoption has been much smoother at the moment? And imagine, Mafalda, do you give some training? Do you provide all that when you are selling those technologies to companies? How does it work
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much easier now to think about the adoption of these technologies. One is that because people start to have more access to these kind of experiences around the world, when they go to a museum, when they were at home and someone told them about how to visit virtually a church, and they go inside and they see. And so people are more used to these tools. And there's no necessary training for that, I would say. But of course, this is a process, and we are still not in the maturity of and the perfect scenario for the adoption. As you said, for the older generations, maybe there are some people that are not really used to that, and they might find some difficulties to understand. But here's the challenge for companies: to make it easy, to make it easier. And as I said, as this market got so competitive, the ones that are developing this, they try to do it seamless. They try to do in a way that people can use really fast and really quickly and really easily. Which has to do again with competition that level up the quality of the flow of the user experience, which is quite good news. There would be a point where this scenario of adoption will be just perfect. Of course, we are still not there. We will achieve that, but there will be some things that will help on that. For example, besides the general adoption of these, for people to try to understand, to see that there's nothing really hard or really difficult in the access. Also the devices and wearables that we will be using in the future will help us on that. Imagine that in the near future, you will be used to put your AR glasses while you are visiting a museum, and that is super seamless. While you are visiting, you can see things around you, AR elements in your glasses, and you don't need to do anything actually. So as soon as these kind of devices like AR glasses and things like that are truly adopted by the mass market, that will be much easier too. Why people are not adopting these devices and this hardware? Maybe because it's still too expensive, but it will not be that expensive in the future. I can give you an example. In the past, we could only got AR glasses from Allianz, almost, from Microsoft, and they could cost you $3,000, 3,000 euros. And nowadays, I went to Mobile World Congress the 2 weeks ago, and you can see there's so many AR glasses, so simple and so cheap. Like you can find devices for 500 euros or things like that. That will help on this adoption, and that will help on the access, that will help on the interaction with this kind of experiences, because people will adopt, people will start to buy, people will want to have these devices. And when this scenario happens, of course, that even for the older ones, it will be so easy.
Yes, and this connects to what it would be my last question, but in the end you already answer it, because it would be like the emerging trends. But as you are saying, as the cost is coming down, it will be more accessible to everyone, and so the adoption of this technology will be much easier. So as we just have like 1 or 2 minutes left, I would invite you to highlight some successful cases. I don't know if you would like to invite our audience to, I don't know, maybe share or maybe highlight one of your experiences.
Yeah.
What would you like to highlight in the end as a wrap-up for people to understand?
I think that I can give some examples of what we have been doing and how we can use these kind of technologies in different scenarios. I think that one of the most interesting examples that we had with our clients was one historical village in Portugal, that is Almeida, where we got an award for that too, where they are a small village with an amazing castle that was gone. And with the French invasions, they destroyed the castle. There's no castle anymore. And you can find so many places where this is happening, where you go there and you don't see the heritage places that they had in the past, and this is a pity. And so in this case, we used AR to bring back this castle and to bring back the scenario of in the 19th century of how it looks like with the French, with the English, and with all the things that they were doing there, and all the stories that happened during the French invasion. And the impact that we got was quite interesting. So people really enjoyed, and still now. So we implemented this like, I don't know, 4 years ago. So we are still receiving compliments and people that give us feedback. Like it is amazing to have this experience and to have the opportunity to see the pass through AR. Another example is that when you think about AR and VR, we can think about this natural connection that I told, but there's so much more. In hospitality, for example, you can use VR for having a nice planning for your trip and for your hotel. If you can see the rooms, if you can see the surroundings, if you can see how it looks like, maybe you will book faster. And this is might be a really interesting use case also that now we can start seeing some hotels adopting. And it might be super interesting to think about that too. And yeah, I think that in general, as I said, for historical reasons in historical places, for hospitality, even for tour operators, for use, for having a better tool for having a better service during the visit of their travelers. There's so many use cases where we can apply this, and where travelers will be amazed by the experience, because they want experiences. They don't want just visits, and immersive experiences might give them this impact and this experience that they are searching for. Yeah.
And this might be a great way of complementing the visits. Yeah. And to engage to the next
Absolutely.
visit.
Yeah.
So to our audience that heard this example from Mafalda, we are going to add this example to the publication that we are releasing, the Year Top Technologies of Year Release. So we are adding this YouTube link that Mafalda has just shared with us. And thank you, Mafalda, for sharing these thoughts with us and these insights. And see you.
Thank you. See you, Marta. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So hello, everyone. It's Marta again. Hello, Tanja.
Hello.
Very nice to meet you, and thank you for being here with us together at this webinar about blockchain. Just a short presentation about my guest today, our expert, Tanja Plankar. She is president of the Blockchain Allianz in Europe, and she will give us a short insight, because we only have 10 minutes, and you will give us a short introduction on, well, what are the value propositions with blockchain technology for tourism SMEs. We also wanted to know a bit more, what are the challenges to implement and to adopt? What are the scalability and growth concernings? And also, it would be good if you could give us also some examples of how the SMEs could really adopt this technology, how this can be done, because in the end of all the technologies that we have gone through so far, this one must be the most challenging one. So the floor is yours, Tanja. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction. So as said, we will talk about blockchain technology, and I will share my screen because I have my presentation prepared about blockchain. Okay. Let's maybe start the slideshow. This is how it is. Okay.
Yes.
So this is going to be blockchain for tourism. We will talk a lot about all the questions that you asked, Marta, and we will start a little bit about the hype cycle or the adoption of blockchain technology. We see here that we have really a lot of possible use cases for blockchain technology. It is not just one technology, it is technology that is used through different use cases. And we can see that a lot of those are not going to be implemented or mass adopted in 2 to 5 years, but some of them will be and are on the verge of mass adoption. For example, cryptocurrencies and blockchain wallets are already there. And blockchain wallet is a building block of every good blockchain use case, as we will see in the next slides. I won't talk about all of those because it will take too much time, but we will talk about those that are really can be easily implemented. And one of them is payments with Bitcoin and other crypto assets, and of course, blockchain payment infrastructure. I will show you that there are many crypto payment providers right now on the market that you can easily implement into your payment system. Even if you are, I don't know, store at a touristic site or a really small SME, this is a possibility that you can implement crypto payments into your payment system. You just have to find a provider that is in your country and then choose one and implement that. And it really is easy, as we will see this in this video. You can pay by a crypto wallet that is on your phone, that is actually an app, or with a special card. And you see that payment is the same as every payment that you make with fiat money or other cards. Okay, let's go. And why you should do this? Because there are, by one of the research papers, there are more than 420 million crypto owners worldwide. And the top countries that have crypto owners are India, USA, Vietnam, and this is the growing market. So people do have crypto assets and Bitcoin, and they want to spend them also as a means of payment, not just a store of value or an investment and so on. And what happened when merchants actually implemented this in US? More than 85% of merchants, they see this in the US as a high priority, and they also had an increase of return on investment up to, this is the, 32%, not 327, that would be a little bit lot, up to 40% of new customers. And this is something you want to tap into that market as an SME, of course, because it is easily implemented, and usually the investment for SMEs is not that high. They just have to have the right hardware for it or a program on their computer. So Marta, maybe any questions about payments before we move to another topic?
Yes, I would just jump into the security issues, because I think that's always a major concern for the companies.
You mean as security, as in the terms of being hacked?
Yes.
So the payments, payments are regulated as every other payment, especially here in Europe. They have to have licenses as payment providers. It doesn't matter if they are dealing with fiat money or they are dealing in crypto. So they have to be compliant with all those regulations, especially if they are also a hardware provider like POS systems, or they are a provider of the digital cards. So this is something that is the concern of those that are doing payments, but for the merchant or for the SME, this is let's say, safe because they are regulated as every other business in the payment industry. So definitely, let's say the risk is not high because there are cryptos involved. And the other thing is, yes, that the merchant usually does not receive the cryptos on their account. They're receiving the fiat money.
Okay.
So for them, and this is happening in the real time.
Very well. Also for each country, because we have different countries here in this consortium, we should go, each SME should go to their country representatives to get more information concerning the payments, blockchain in payments, right?
Yes, of course. I can tell for Europe that we have this aligned because most of the are European directives. But yes, if we're talking about other countries, there should get more information how the crypto payments are regulated.
Very well.
Okay.
We can proceed.
Let's go to another one, the centralized identity and use cases based on the decentralized identity. This is just an outline of the infrastructure that you need for the use of the centralized identity, because the decentralized identity is actually a digital wallet where we store our information. And the important thing is that we have the control over our information with which entity we will share that information. That is happening on the trusted framework. And we also have some verifiers and issuers in the system. With verifier, these are, for example, governmental bodies that are issuing some sort of documents like your passport. And the verifier is another, in this case, governmental body or body of control that is verifying that this is the right one. So this is some sort of an infrastructure, and this is an example what you can have in your digital wallet. When I'm talking about digital wallets, this is really an app that is really user-friendly and easy to use, because otherwise, this would not be a use case that would be very useful for mass adoption. So we can see these are some use cases that we did with the company that I'm involved with. We issued some digital certificates for sommeliers and connoisseurs for distilled beverages. What they can do, they can build the whole portfolio of their experiences in this realm. So we also issued some digital credentials, and these were the awards for the finest gins and juniper spirits. Again, those that are doing that, they can again build a portfolio of the similar digital credentials and rewards that they are getting. And what is the beauty of it? It cannot be forged. It can be very easily traceable. It can be also, it is very transparent. Who is the issuer? Where did they get it? And what was the award? And of course, there is a digital credential for people. You can store in your wallet different credentials, as we saw before, passports, health IDs, and so on. So these are also some other tourism-related use cases. As said, it can be used for travel documents. It can be used for access management for tourist capacities. This is much easier because all the documents are there in your digital wallet, and you just have to share with the different entities. Then insurance. The insurance is much more automated with smart contracts. For example, if your flight is delayed more than 2 hours and you need a refund, you're also then this happens automatically. You don't have the whole paperwork. Loyalty programs are also possible, and the centralized booking hubs, it is similar to those that are centralized and we're using right now, but what they don't have is you don't share all of your data with them. You just give the access to those that you want to share with. This is the main difference.
Tanja, do you have any use cases in the hospitality scene, vertical? like hotels, or do you have any cases that you can share so that the people who are watching us, they may look into more information?
We didn't do an actual pilot or a use case with the company that I work for, but there is a possibility to do this, because when you have this digital ID, as said, you can store everything inside that ID. It can be also just shared as a credential. That means, in theory, if not required by law, when we have our ID scanned and so on, and somebody's that's storing that on their probably server or a computer, we don't know how safe that data is. Here, as a verifiable credential, there is a possibility that the hotel is a verifier, and they just check if we have that credential. That means no storing for them, and that means that it's completely also safe, and there's no need for duplicating that data every time that you check in the hotel. So this is, for example, and there are many more documents that are like that, and can be accessed as a verifiable credential.
I imagine, for instance, the driving license when you rent a car, right?
I just wanted to say that.
Exactly.
Yes, the driving license, your ID or passport, those are things that are getting replicated every time that you enter a facility, and this is just not feasible. And it's not also feasible because the security should be on a higher level here, and sometimes is simply not, because I understand that the simple hotel cannot have a very secure room with servers and everything. As a bank, it's not happening. So these are some of the possibilities. And yes, it eliminates the paperwork, because you just share the information. This can happen automatically.
And repetition, because we are repeating again and again, doing the same paperwork. So
yes. So this is slowly, because we also have an initiative on the European level. For Europe, I can say this will be soon a reality, because we also have on the European level already confirmed digital wallets that are compliant with all the regulative and technical aspects that are required by this European Commission initiative. So this is something that is happening right now and will be massively used very, very soon.
Good to know.
Okay. And then the NFTs, we heard a lot about NFTs in the previous years. I will just skim through the use cases that happened here in Slovenia. I'm from Slovenia, and this is one where it was a promotional campaign for our country. It was called I Feel Slovenia NFT. Those were photographs that were actually you could access with a special card and NFT and store it into your wallet. So this is one example. This is also Planica NFT. This is our major sports event that is happening in Slovenia. It's ski jumping, and you could also bid on NFT collection that was made with the ski jumpers at that year. And the third one, this is the promotional campaign for one destination for Portugal. They decided to make goat NFTs, and if you collected more of them, then you could have some benefits in terms of also memorabilia and so on. So these are use cases that are actually addressing Generation Z, Generation Alpha, the digital natives. Sometimes they are merging the digital with the physical. In terms of if you collect so many NFTs, then something else will happen to you. You will get a t-shirt or a special experience or something like that. It individualizes experiences at a certain destination to a certain point. It depends how good the business model is. And actually, as I said, the digital wallets are now so user-friendly that no in-depth understanding of the technology is needed. Of course, there are some challenges. We saw a lot of ideas and a lot of wonderful ideas, but the business models were not so adequate or were not so well thought. The PR was sometimes more relevant than the actual business model and did not get traction at the end. For those that are actually also issuing NFTs that had some monetary value, there is also not enough regulation, and there is a lot of room for different scams. And of course, there are unreal expectations as from the holders as from the issuers, because when there is money involved and some value to those NFTs, sometimes they don't reflect the true value of those in the market. I'm sure that you have some questions for the NFTs too.
No, yes. So concerning, because I always think of my target, and the targets are SMEs, tourism SMEs. Do you think that it's already well developed for them to adopt? It's already, or it's just for the bigger players or for the destinations? Because from the point that I see, the use cases are always more on the part of the destinations, not to the SMEs.
Yes, but it is possible for SMEs to adopt them. They actually also work as a digital loyalty cards. This is something you can collect your NFTs as, you know, as your collecting points in the store, and when you collect some of them, then you get some benefits. So yes, we are, let's say, not exactly there yet, but we are very, very near. And there are SMEs that are using this possibility to have digital loyal cards that are actually NFTs by their design.
Very well. Tanja, I don't think we have more time. This was really a snapshot into blockchain. I don't know if you have more slides to show us.
No, this is it. But otherwise, I could talk for an hour. I know we don't have time. I hope this was valuable. These are some things that really is targeted for SMEs, and it is for them to use very, very soon.
Very well. If one of the people from the audience want to know more about, where can they look for? What is your address, the website, so that they can look for more information?
Okay, it's blockchainalliance.si. Otherwise, if you just write tanja.plankar at blockchainalliance.si, you can also reach me via email. I'm very available, very glad to chat about blockchain technology.
Tanja, thank you very much. I always learn a lot from these talks. Thank you, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Hello. I hope you have enjoyed the webinar and you have gained some new knowledge and interesting insights on what are the current top technologies and how they can be adopted by the tourism SMEs. I would like to leave you with a video that summarizes the results of the Tourbit project, since this is the last Tourism 4.0 webinar we will do. Thank you all for your participation along the different activities delivered by Tourbit. I really hope the project has been useful for you, and I look forward to new opportunities for future collaboration. Thank you very much. Bye.